American citizen, Veselnitskaya, the Russian lawyer. She's not allowed in the country, Joe. She applies for immigration parole type exception to get into the country. Don't be confused by the words. She applies for, she wants to get in the country to represent her client in this court proceeding. Preet Bharara of the Southern District of New York, who Trump later fires, by the way, who has nothing, fired him for, I believe, different reasons. But this guy's no fan of Trump, Joe. Preet Bharara himself denies this woman a visa to come into the United States. Not himself, but in conjunction with the DOJ and the Southern District. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Says no. So, wait. You just said they said no. How did she, if they said no to the visa, then how did this Russian lawyer get into the United States to meet with the Trump team? And to meet with Fusion GPS that's being paid by the DNC later and Hillary to get information on Trump. How does she get in, Joe?
Yeah, how?
Oh, the State Department issued a visa? The Obama State Department? Wow.
What?
Yeah. A rare visa she gets, by the way, for, quote, people of significant public benefit. So DHS and state get together and say, no, we'll give her a visa.
Huh.
For significant public benefit. Obviously a benefit not significant enough that the Department of Justice that was actually working on her case as she was representing this Russian company, they didn't think it was significant enough to let her in. But all of a sudden, the State Department in conjunction with DHS works to let her in for some significant public benefit right around the time the FBI is initiating a counterintelligence investigation against the Trump team. How does that happen, Joe? That's just crazy, isn't it?
Son of a gun. Yeah, you
Son of a gun.
Are you like a crazy person?
We are. We are like crazy people. Because we're only putting out there information that, folks, nothing I've told you is factually inaccurate. We're now getting to the people on the website say, Occam's razor, which is essentially, given all possible explanations, always accept the one that's the that has the most parsimony. Basically, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Does this make any sense? Democrats want you to believe Russians hacked emails. Democrats can't prove Russians hacked emails. They need something on Trump. Obama administration hates Trump. FBI all of a sudden opens up investigation on Trump. Doesn't tell Congress that they're supposed to. They're supposed to tell Congress. Doesn't tell Congress there's an investigation on Trump. All of a sudden, Russian gets into the country to meet with Trump, alleging to have Russian emails or information from the Russians. Russian lawyer can't get into the country. Obama State Department intervenes to get Russian into the country on special visa for significant public benefit. Ooh, baby, is this thing getting ugly.
Yeah.
Okay. Now what happens? Well, before we get to that, let me just, because we're going to go to Act 3 in a second, but let me get this stuff out of him. Sorry, folks, but we do have to pay for the show. Again, and I always appreciate you bearing with me here. Today's show also brought to you by our buddies at iTarget. You know I love iTarget. These guys are great. iTarget is the best firearm training self-defense system around. Love it, love it, love it, because I can't get to the range. My day today is just stacked, start to finish. I'm not doing the show early because of that. I'm doing it because it's important, but I have a really busy day today, and I can't always get to the range. You want to train in the safety and security of your own home? Use the iTarget Pro system. That's the letter I, by the way. What is the iTarget Pro system? Folks, the range is great, but it's expensive. You got to get there. You got to buy ammunition. You got to clean your gun. You got to drive there. You got to drive back. You can't do it every day. You should do it, but you can't do that every day. Some of you can't even do it every month. iTarget system is a laser bullet they will send you. Drops in the firearm you have now. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to buy a separate barrel, no special tools. You just drop this laser bullet and it has a rubber backstop. And when you depress the trigger on this, on your firearm you have now, I have a Glock 43. The laser bullet in there is going to emit a laser onto a target they send you, and it's all going to be tracked on this phone app. It is the coolest system out there. People send me emails. They can't put it down. One guy cursed me, Joe. He's like, damn you, Dan Bongino. I can't put this thing down. I'm not kidding. I'm not making it. Folks, I never lie to my audience, okay? This thing is amazing. The guy sent me, like, in one day, he approved his groups from, like, a basketball-sized group of rounds to, like, a golf ball size. You'll be shooting the wings off a firefly when you're done with this thing. Go check it out. It's available at the letter itargetpro.com. That's itargetpro.com. I'll give you a promo code. Dan, my first name, you'll get 10% off. That's a nice rebate, folks. This system is unbelievable, folks. Anybody can shoot a firearm. The only question is, can you shoot it accurately? That's the question. Competitive shooters, people do this for a living, whose lives revolve around it, right? They dry fire their weapons 10 times more than they live fire. Take your dry fire training to the next level. Get that target up. You can practice around corners. You can practice in the safety and security of your own house where, God forbid, something may happen in a self-defense scenario. This is a great system. Go check it out. itargetpro.com, promo code Dan. That's itargetpro.com, promo code Dan. Go check it out.
Hey, man, we're going to have to make a drop out of that. Damn you, Dan Bongino.
Yeah, that would be great. We need one more, Dan. And it is true. It is the email that he's like, I can't put the damn thing down. People love the system. It's crazy. Cool. All right. Now, let's get to Act 3.
All right.
Act 3, we're going to call the daylight. So Act 1, emails. Act 2, the setup on the emails. Have we explained that enough, Joe, so far?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Timing is everything here, babe.
Timing is everything. Yeah. Act 3, the daylight. A little melodramatic, but I said the daylight. The daylight. But I couldn't, honest to God, I couldn't think of anything else to call it. Okay. This is a piece of the puzzle I was given this weekend that blew me away, that I did not have on Friday. Right after Trump wins the election, Joe, right around November, Admiral Mike Rogers of the NSA, who's a decorated military man, runs the National Security Agency. Let's just say right before the election, Mike Rogers gets very suspicious about what's going on. And to be clear, what I'm hearing and reading, Mike Rogers is the hero of this story, of Act 3. Again, I'm trying to give you an overview so nobody gets confused where I'm going with this.
We're good.
Right before the election, Mike Rogers of the NSA, who would be read in basically on any kind of CI operation, counterintelligence operation that was going on at some level. Not all of it because it's compartmentalized information in specific agencies, but has an idea of what's going on, becomes very suspicious, Joe, about the spying procedures of the NSA and the gathering of email and phone data on people in the United States. We know this. It's in the timeline I'll give you. It's linked. You can read the PDFs yourself. Now, what specifically concerns Mike Rogers, I don't know. But what I'm about to tell you are all facts. I want to lay out what I'm speculating on. What concerned Mike Rogers so much about the NSA basically spying on people, Joe, for him to submit to the FISA court that there was a problem, which he does at the end of the summer of 2016, okay?
All right.
Before the election, he submits to the FISA court, Houston, we have a problem. Somebody is spying on someone in violation of our rules. That's not in dispute. Is that the Trump spying? I don't know. But what I'm about to tell you leads me to believe that it was. Rogers says to himself, something's going on, submits this review. Right around that time, the person who submitted the review at DOJ National Security Division, a guy named John Carlin of the DOJ National Security Division resigns. DOJ National Security Division is interesting. They're unique because they don't have oversight by the IG. So they're kind of out there doing their own thing because Sally Yates in 2015 submitted a memo, which is in the piece, by the way. Sally Yates submits a memo saying we don't want to be under the IG supervision. They're basically internal affairs. So DOJ NSD is almost doing its own thing, Joe. A guy in DOJ NSD who would be read in on the application to the FISA court to spy on the Trump team resigns. Right around the same time, Joe, that Admiral Mike Rogers, the NSA, says, hey, something fishy's going on at the NSA with the spying. Weird. Crazy how that happens. Guy just resigns. He submits this he submits this review. The review comes back, and it's negative, and Rogers decides they're going to change procedures at the NSA going forward about certain queries into the system about phone and email data. Another weird thing. Here's the coup de grace. Mike Rogers, right after the election, waits about 10 days, and he goes and visits Trump in Trump Tower, and he tells nobody about it. At least nobody in the military or nobody in the Obama White House about this visit. Now, 2 questions, Joe. Why would Mike Rogers, the head of the NSA, after the election of Donald Trump, keep in mind, Trump's the president-elect now, it's about 10 days later, why would he visit Trump in Trump Tower and not tell anyone? And secondly, why would he wait 10 days to do it? Now, I'm going to propose to you as a former Secret Service agent that the SCIF, the Sensitive Compartmentalized Information Facility, where you can share information free of spying. I'm not going to tell you how they do it, but it's not complicated. They set these things up in a room with certain countermeasures so that you can talk freely, Joe, and we know we're not being spied on.
Right.
That would probably take between 5 and 10 days to set up. Mike Rogers, who's the head of the NSA, who has just submitted the NSA for a review and complained to the FISA court about some spying going on that he wasn't comfortable with, runs up to talk to Trump about 10 days later when a SCIF is set up where he can talk privately and not worried about being monitored. He talks to Trump on November 17th. What happens on November 18th, Joe? Well, you don't know because I haven't briefed you on this. On November 18th, the Trump team evacuates Trump Tower and moves to Bedminster, New Jersey, where it does all its subsequent interviews. Remember that place in Bedminster, New Jersey? He'd come out, he'd wave at all the people. Why do you think that happened? You think maybe Mike Rogers knew the entire time that something fishy was going on with the entire government counterintelligence operation that the Obama team had its mitts and its tentacles in, that they were spying on the Trump team the entire time, and that Rogers went up to Trump Tower and didn't tell the White House about it to warn the Trump team? Folks, I don't know what Mike Rogers told Donald Trump, but I'm telling you it is damn suspicious, and you don't have to be a criminal investigator to figure this out, that the next day they left Trump Tower. Why? Why did they do it? Remember all those interviews in Trump Tower? Joe, remember it? Everybody was going up the elevator, giving press conferences. Next day, bang, they're gone.
Wow.
Joe, I did not tell you any of this before the show, right?
Right.
Does that not blow your damn mind or what?
It's like running into a brick wall. I'm not kidding you.
I made a call on this weekend to double and triple check this. Not that the dates are obvious. You can just look these dates up online. When did Mike Rogers visit Trump? When did they go to Bedminster? This isn't complicated. But he waits 10 days for a SCIF to get set up. Here's what I'm going to suggest to you probably happened. Mike Rogers of the NSA knows who sets up the SCIF, WACA, the White House Communications Agency, in conjunction with TSD from the Secret Service, Technical Security Division. Gets word from someone that the SCIF is set up in Trump Tower. In other words, they can talk there free of being wiretapped, spied on, surveilled, whatever you want to call it. He takes the trip up telling no one. He warns the Trump team, you're being spied on. This is not right. You're being spied on right now by the Obama team. The Trump team rapidly decamps Trump Tower, heads up to Bedminster where they know they're not being spied on. Does the Trump tweet later on in March now make sense about I'm being wiretapped in Trump Tower? Yeah. Folks, is the bell finally going off? Do you understand the level of corruption we're talking about here? Do you understand now why Jim Comey panicked? I shouldn't say panicked. Why he has an unusual response, at the least, to the question about why he didn't notify Congress about the most significant counterintelligence operation in U.S. history? Folks, these people may have committed a crime. The Obama team was spying on them. The Obama team was spying on them. And Joe, not one person involved in this, not one, has produced a predicate crime yet that the Trump team committed to authorize surveillance on them and their team.
Yeah. Well,
Give
if
me
you're
take a
waiting for me
breather.
to say something, I'm speechless.
No, take a breather here for a second because here, Joe, you can see me now. This is I'm only up to here, and I want to wrap this up and tie this